Sony Music to drop Dr. Luke. This is alleged. Okay, this is according to a number of sources that work within Sony, that know people at Sony. They are alleging that Sony is trying to repair the damage from the Kesha Dr. Luke controversy and their image, and that they think that the only way to repair that damage is to drop Dr. Luke and peace out from the whole situation. So we just found out, though, that a representative of Dr. Luke issued a statement denying the Wrap's report, because this was all reported via thewrap.com. And they said, a member from his camp said, quote, "This is not true. Luke has an excellent relationship with Sony. His representatives are in regular contact with executives at the highest levels at Sony, and this has never come up." Now, Sony, from what I know, has yet to respond. You thought maybe they did, but from what we know right now, we don't think they've responded?
Yeah, we need to do a little bit. There might be some things that are going to come out later today or tomorrow that will clarify this. I'm sure that Sony has to respond.
Right.
But as of what we know now, Dr. Luke's camp is denying it, and this is just a report.
And this is just a report, and also, according to these insiders, because people like Kelly Clarkson, who's with Sony, who recently went on this Australian radio station and said, of course, Kelly Clarkson and Lady Gaga and Adele have been very public in supporting Kesha, right? But Kelly Clarkson just went on this Australian radio station a few days ago and said very blatantly what a bad person Dr. Luke was, and she refused to work with him, but Sony made her. Blackmailed were her words. Whoa. Blackmailed her into working with Dr. Luke. So from that, there's been even more bad PR press surrounding Sony, and who knows? Do you guys think that that he should drop Dr. Luke? What do you guys think?
While I do work with Sony Professional Solutions of America, I literally have never spoken to anyone in Sony Music. I need to say that ahead of time. I don't know anyone that works there.
I thought you were the insider.
Speculate.
I was hoping you were the insider.
If you need to know about what camera buttons do, I will help you all day. I don't know anything about this, so I am free to speculate with everybody.
Good.
Okay. Do you think that this is a good idea for Sony to drop the relationship and the ties because of the controversy and the bad PR? And
anytime the term, because it's just such a PR nightmare, is thrown around, that stuff is because it's either a cop-out or it's because there genuinely is no proof one way or another. And it can still be a cop-out in that situation. It's hard because you want to be based totally in fact. I also want to be on Kesha's side if this terrible stuff has happened to her. I love her music. I love the way she sings. I have no cause not to believe her. But then again, the process is set up so much that, like, I will be outing myself as just like, I like Kesha more than Dr. Luke, and I like Kelly Clarkson more than Dr. Luke. Who the is Dr. Luke?
Right.
It's hard for me. Like, my heart says, like, yes, Dr. Luke is terrible.
Yeah,
so
especially because
a
number of the people in the music industry have rallied around Kesha, saying that he's a bad person, he has a bad character. They've had not similar experiences, but they've had experiences, and you don't see many people rallying around Dr. Luke. We do have a video that you guys should watch if you have not seen our opinions on it, because we don't have time to really dive into what we think about that whole, the lawsuit and all of that. So please make sure you watch that video. But what did you think?
I mean, I'm on Kesha's side. I kind of have to be, just because, first off, like, if a woman comes out, this is a really hard thing to do, to come out. And I'm not saying that you can assume she has ulterior motives, I guess, but it doesn't seem like any of this would be positive enough for her to be worth what's happening. The fact that other artists are saying they've had similar experiences, to me, it just... From my experience in this industry, there are men who are very powerful, and it is absolutely like this industry to let them get away with doing stuff like that. That's just, people overlook some of the most egregious things.
Yeah.
And I think, we have a chance right now as a culture, when we have this Bill Cosby thing and all this other stuff going on, that's like accusations were flying. Well, they flew at that time and no one wanted to deal with it. I kind of wish people would take it seriously.
Right.
And
it makes it that much harder for women, for victims, not just women, but all victims of sexual assault and abuse and rape, to come forward when they see, I'm not really getting justice. So it's hard enough for somebody to come forward to overcome the shame and the guilt, and then it's hard to think, God, if I do come out, am I going to be villainized?
Yeah, and also if you're someone in the spotlight, if you're a public figure, like, not only, because this is on a smaller scale, if you're a private individual who comes forward, that is already hard. Now you're Kesha, you come forward, you're a huge pop star. I mean, and you know that you're going to have this backlash. What I would say is that if Sony, if any of this is true, if Sony wants to drop Dr. Luke, if Sony wants to deal with whatever is going on with Kesha on their own, I can't fault them because it shows that they're taking sexual assault seriously. If they did nothing, if there wasn't even a rumor about anything happening with Dr. Luke, it would show that they do not take sexual assault seriously. That's all it says, is that they're like, nah, she's lying. Like that, they're just writing it off. Even if none of this is true, if it's just a rumor and it's a PR person that started this rumor, I think that's smart on the part of Sony because it shows that they are actually responding to this. Because previous to this, it seemed like Sony was incredibly cold-hearted and this corporate entity that was just, like the man just pushing down on this.
That's what Mark Garagos said. That Mark Garagos is Kesha's attorney, and he said in the lawsuit that the reason why Sony was taking the side of Dr. Luke was because he was a bigger asset to them because he was this hit producer making so much more money than Kesha over here. That was according to Mark Garagos.
I think it comes down to when you said people doing things about it when the time is now. And I want to make sure that that's happening, because if that's not happening, that is just the biggest injustice here. Because for me, it's like, take this situation out of it. And this is a conversation that people have a lot, which is like, I want to try people in a court of law. I don't want to try them in a court of public opinion.
Totally.
From my perspective, if the court of law fails, I'm going to drag you into the court of public opinion because that's all that's left for me. Because I tried the court of law. There's an ethical part of my philosophy that's like, I can't condemn Dr. Luke unless it's proven so. As much as I know that it's a problem in our system, I can't. But there's tons of my part of my mind that's listening to and giving credit to and credence to Kesha and all these people that I've grown to trust. But when it comes down to it, I can't convict Dr. Luke. But Dr. Luke, I don't give a shit about you. I don't care about you. I'm not your name and I don't know anything about you that makes me like you. It's only this part of me that's I want, if this was happening to anyone else, I wouldn't want to do something terrible if the tables were turned.
I agree. Well, the hard part is just with sexual assault, abuse, rape, crimes, it's oftentimes hard to prove when either the statute of limitations is up, or if that individual is dealing with so much shame, they don't bring it up until years later, or they don't talk about it, or they didn't go to the hospital like Kesha did and get a rape kit done because she was embarrassed and was at 18 and fearful that it would affect her career. And there's so many different layers when it comes to our court system and the justice system, and in my opinion, how flawed it is when it comes to rape, sexual assault, and abuse victims. I don't know. I could go on and on and on. It's hard. It's hard. Because you also don't want to falsely accuse somebody. It's tough.
But even if you remove it from that, isn't there kind of a standard that you have to acknowledge in this system that exists where it's somehow women pay for their success with their bodies or with their sexuality, and that's a real thing, that really exists, that there are women who are absolutely put in these situations where you are expected to put out sexually to get ahead. And the fact that someone at 18 not knowing better and not realizing that this was victimization, or deciding that it was acceptable. I think the point is having people like that in the industry hurts every single girl who comes in and wants to have a career.
And men. It happens to a lot of men in this industry too, especially the gay community. My heart breaks for a lot of the members in the gay community who are victimized by some casting directors.
Exactly.
Who see a cute little gay boy and they want to take advantage of him, and they use and straight boys too, but I'm just saying it's yes, it disproportionately happens more to women, but there are plenty of male victims as well.
Definitely.
So sad. It really is. Okay, you guys, please keep this conversation going in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.